Hello, everyone. Welcome to the final conclusion for Agentic AI. We have done quite uh, a number of steps where we learned lang chains. We saw how lang graphs work. Then we also saw how racks will work. Now, how to package it. Okay, so there are multiple ways of packaging it. Either we can package it using a Windows application, or else if you want to package it in a web application, that is completely up to you. Okay, so I'll show you a couple of examples since we are reaching at our final conclusion. So I'll show you like a couple of examples how we can package it. So the first example in the series basically will be how to package it in a Windows application. Okay, so yeah, so before we begin, I will use the same concept, okay, that we have been using. So basically, almost the similar packages that are similar libraries that we have used. There is an additional library that we're importing. It's called some people call it Tkinter, some people call it Tkinter, or some Tkinter. So it's completely you like how you want to call it. Okay, so this is the package that I have imported, and from these package I have imported scroll text message box, just to give you an idea what it does. Um, it will help us build that Windows UI, okay, so that we can have the code at the backend, code running at the backend, and then we will have our Windows interface where it will interact with the user. Okay, so now just to give you a background or just to revise what we have done so far. Okay, so let me just walk you through the packages that I have. But even before that, let me just show you how this application works, and then I'll walk you through. Okay, so just to give you a very high level idea at the beginning. So these are the libraries or packages that I have imported. Apart from that, there are one extra library that I've imported. So now, if you scroll all the way down, so we have this something called as messages variable, which we will be passing on into the Windows, okay, or Windows application. So now this is where the Windows application starts. So, and here basically, if you see earlier, if you remember, we use input function, right, just to interact with the I mean interact with the code, or interact basically, or create an interactive approach where we can type in the question and then we get the answer. Okay, but this time we are going to do something similar, but everything will be happening within our environment or within a certain window that we will create. Okay, so basically, if you see, this is the messages variable that we have used within this particular app. Okay, which we are calling as loan officer GUI. Okay, now, within this itself, I have used get AI response, and then I'm passing the messages that I will be typing in, okay, through a block or through a message box. Okay, now let me just execute it, and then I can show you how, or I will walk you through the code how it works. Okay, now we go to terminal. Um, It will take like because it's very heavy on the back end, right? It's using AI, and that's why it might take couple of seconds to execute. But and since I'm running it on my local machine, right? So it might take little more time. So yeah, let's wait and then we connect back. So guys, you can see my window is ready. So my application did run, and this is how it looks. Okay. Now, if I want to ask some questions, so basically I can just use um, what is my, or what should be my echo for uh, easy access, something like this. Okay. So now, you see, it's just giving us answers like based on policy rules provided for easy loan access. I would recommend having a FICO score of 750. Basically, what it does. Okay, so what it does, it's basically same concept that we have been using earlier. It's looking at this loan data.csv, and then on top of it, it's also looking at the loan policy documents that we have provided earlier. So basic on that, it's concluding and then giving us these values. Okay, my echo is 500. Okay, so now it's giving me. So now if I ask back what was or what is my echo score? Um, Shows echo 37, there is something like this. Okay, maybe in the record itself, there is something mentioned regarding my FICO score. Uh, So that's what I'm getting. Okay, so basically this is how I can access or create a chat window, Windows-based chat window where basically the users can interact. Okay, let's go back and let me run you through the code that I have created. Okay, so for now I'll just okay. Let me just walk you through the code. Now, the first is the libraries. So OS, this part like manage import OS is basically to manage file paths and environment variables, like any API keys that normally you use. Then pandas is for reading the loan data CSV spreadsheet that we have. Then we have import threading. So this basically allows the AI to think in the background. So the window doesn't freeze. Okay, and then we have this Tkinter SDK, which is the standard library for Windows desktop, and then we have this type deck or typing deck, which is used to define the structure of AI memory. Okay, then we have this uh, LangChain and LangGraph imports. So either you can take a look at my previous videos, or else basically, uh, uh, if you just want me to, I mean, go walk you through. So LangChain underscore Grok import chat Grok. So this chat Grok, this particular line normally connects to the Grok Llama 3 model for fast reasoning. It will help us to connect to Llama 3 model for fast reasoning. And then this next line, Hugging Face, this will help us turn text into mathematical vectors for searching. And then we have from LangChain underscore community, this vector stores. I mean, we are importing FAISS, which is like a high-speed database, as I've told earlier, that stores and searches the PDF text. Okay. Then we have sorry, we have Pi PDF loader, or we are importing Pi PDF loader to help us read the text inside our PDF files. And then we have this recursive character text filter, which chops long PDFs into small readable chunks. Okay, and that's if you have seen my earlier videos, you'll see like when I'm using this recursive character text where I'm defining the chunks as well. Okay. Now, next is basically like from LangGraph. This is a built-in tool to create AI's decision map. And then there are some other libraries. So basically, you can take just to set up memory and all, and add messages. So and then output parsers or STR output parsers. So you can look at these libraries, the purpose of these libraries in my earlier videos. Okay, now next is the core AI logic. Here, in this particular section, we are setting up the knowledge base, which is RAG, and the decision logic, okay, using LangGraph. So first, we are authenticating the script using Grok AI service, okay. Then in the next step, we are using in line 23, we are using LLM. So in this particular line, we are using, or we are initializing the specific AI model used to generate response. Here it is Llama 3 370 versatile. Okay, and temperature zero I have discussed earlier. Please take a look at it. Okay, if I want very specific answer, then a logical and specific answer, in those scenarios I use temperature zero. If I want to have a creative answer, then I use temperature equal to 1. Okay, next. um, we are setting up this knowledge base, okay, where we are basically, this is a function that we are creating to specify or which reads the PDF file, splits them into chunks. So this is where I've defined the chunk size, okay, and chunk overlap, splits into chunks, and it also creates searchable FAISS index, okay. And this you can relate this like, it's like a librarian part of the AI which arranges everything in sequence, okay. And then we have this retriever, okay. We have this retriever which executes the librarian setup, so the AI is ready to search, okay. And this historical underscore data, this basically loads the CSV file, so the AI can look past the load results, okay. Now, next we are creating a class state agent. So this is basically to define what AI remembers. So if you remember, like when we did the LangGraph, I mean, we created the state, and this is part of the LangGraph. Okay. No, as I was saying, so this basically helps in the conversation history because we are creating a state and where the messages and conversations are being stored, and then I mean, it also like takes the context, okay, where it found the PDFs and the messages that we are providing. It takes everything in the context, and then it gives us a result, okay. Now, okay. Now, next we are defining the retriever node. So this is a graph node. This helps us, like its only job is to take users' questions, search the PDFs, and return relevant rules. Okay. And then we have this chatbot. Okay. And this chatbot, basically, this is the reasoning node. It takes PDF rules, the CSV data, and the conversation history to write the final answer. Okay. And then finally, we have these workflows. So this workflow, the first workflow, or the first step, line number 65, where it says state graph state agent. So basically this starts the creation of the AI's workflow map. And then the next step basically adds the retrieve and chatbot steps to the map. And then we have this edge. This is basically connects the dots, the start, retrieve info, retrieve info, generate response, and then we have the end. Okay. And finally, the workflow compile this particular step basically finalizes the AI engine and adds a memory saver to the AI to remember your name and the other information that you are providing in your interaction. Okay. Now, next, this is the part where we build the visual window, and this basically handles user interactions. Okay. Now, Here, basically, we are creating the blueprint for the Windows desktop. Okay, so which is called Loan Officer GUI. And then in the first step, so basically we are defining the geometry, the size of the or our application. Okay, the title is Diamond Senior Loan Officer AI, but you can change it to anything you want. I have just created something, and then next. We are defining the dimensions of the window that that gets created, and then we are also in the next line we are also providing or giving specific chat session a unique ID, so the AI keeps a case file for the user. Okay, so we are creating a thread ID and GUI session ID. Okay, now, next is I want to also display the chats that we are doing once. Yeah. So this is where basically the chat history is displayed. Sorry. This particular variable chat display this variable we are using scroll text dot scroll, so where it's wrapping up the word and then providing a detail. So this step basically creates a large text area where the conversation is displayed, and then we have uh, input frame. Okay, so in this input frame basically the first part tk entry. Okay, and this is the input frame that gets created, and then we have this tk dot entry where this creates the box where you basically type your questions. Okay, and then finally this we are creating how it's aligned and everything, and then we have this particular line where self user input dot bind basically allows us to press the enter key to send the message. Okay, and if you take a look at it, this part. Okay. Now, apart from that, next basically like I mean the interaction threading. So when you have this display message, okay, this one is basically at the top when it's displaying. So this is the part where which I've used to display, and then I've created a button, send button. Once you type something, you can send, and then it sends in as a command. Okay, so the self sorry then a display message I have also created, like AI system online, how can I assist you. So this display message also I've created. Now, next is the display message function that I've created. This is like a helper function that formats and prints text into a chat window. Okay, and then we have the send message function. So this takes your text displays on the screen and then starts a thread. Okay. Okay, and then we have this get AI response functions where it calls the app invoke. Okay, it calls the app invoke, and then finally this command is to run the LangGraph, and then finally we have this self.root after. So this basically helps the main thread to update in the window that we see. Okay, and this basically tells the GUI that the AI is done. So as soon as you are free, print the answer on the screen. Okay. Now, the last part for any Tkinter application. So to run the application, this is the uh, standard code that you normally use. So this is the starting point of the program. Then you type in or you create to create the actual window. You create a variable root and then root dot I mean tk dot tk. Okay, and then you run the main loop. Okay, so you run the main application and then you run the main loop. Okay, so this is like a object that you're creating, and then finally you're running the main loop. So yeah, basically this is the overall structure how the code will look. I will also paste this code in the description without the API key, of course. So you can generate your API key. Look at my earlier videos how I have generated the API key. Or else, if you are using any other approaches to create the API key, please or any other platforms for your API like OpenAI or any other applications. Feel free to comment. Feel free to suggest how we can improve this, or what are the if there are any optimizations needed, how we can optimize this further. Feel free to start a discussion there. Okay, so I hope you might have liked this video. Please feel free to reach out for any clarifications or any needs, or if even if you have any business needs also, like feel free to reach out. We can help you. Okay, so that's it for today's session. Hope you have liked it. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe on whichever platform you're watching this. Thank you.